It's the Brad and John Show.
It is the Brad and John Show. Today's date is the 13th of October. It is a Monday, TGIM. And if you're a government employee, you're making triple time today because not only is it government shutdown day, but it's also a holiday. Right, John?
What holiday is it?
It's, well, we call it Columbus Day, but I think it's been renamed to Indigenous People Day. But don't tell that to the Italians. They will fight you tooth and nail over that. Okay. Two things to talk about. My son. I've talked about my youngest son, Drew, all the time, who's a very interesting character. I have 4 kids, same mother, same father, and they're now all around the country, except for my youngest son. He lives right here in St. Louis, and I see him from time to time. And him and I have fun together because he is a dyed-in-the-wool Bernie Sanders fan. And
he's a Bernie bro.
He's a Bernie bro, right. Okay, and he is 31 years old, okay? And I remark about the fact that if I get into a car with him, he's always got Clue 103 on, which is like oldies. And I always remark the fact that the music on that show, on that radio station, every single song on that radio station was done before he was even born. Matter of fact, some of those people, some of those artists he's listened to were born, became successful, OD'd on drugs, and died before he was even born, okay?
Yeah, I can believe that.
I have a news story about my son, Drew, who Saturday picked me up because I had to ferry a car from point A to point B, and he picked me up and drove me back to my office, and I get in his car, and he's got a nice car. It's got, a fancy schmancy dashboard with the fancy smancy big display, and I hear some music playing in the background, and I look on the screen, and it's in Japanese. And I go, what the hell are you listening to? And he looks at me and he goes, well, I'm listening to 70s China, Japan pop. And I go, what? So he turns it up, and it's all these Japanese songs from the 70s that were like chart toppers in the 70s in Japan. And I'm going like, what are you doing? And he's into this music. Now this is his new thing. He's into 70s and early 80s Japanese pop. John, do you know anybody in your life who is into 70s and early 80s Japanese pop?
Absolutely not. And so first of all, would most people, let's say you and I, if you took the top hits from that genre, would you or I recognize any of them?
None of them. And that was
None of them.
Yes.
And so I know K-pop is huge, which is especially in the last several months. But that's not the same thing as J-pop.
No. This was all interesting kind of. And you know what? Some of it was good music. Some of it was in English. Some of it was in Japanese. Some of it was mixed. They would do a line in Japanese and then say something in English or something like that. It was just sort of interesting. And I said to him, how did you get into this? Oh, I don't know. I was just playing around and found this music and found it good. And here's the interesting point about this is, those of us in the radio business and those of us who always use research says, and it's just like John can quote all this research with political people and stuff like that. My son, and there's other people like him who are the true outliers who do not fit in any category. You know what I'm saying, John?
Yeah, I get it. You would not assume that he would listen to Japanese rock and pop music.
Well, just like I know someone, a matter of fact, I know 2 women who are well into their 60s who still listen to Z1077. And the target demo for Z1077 is like 12 to 24 or 12
Probably
to 35.
Probably younger, sure.
Right. And they are like more than double the average age of the listener is Z1077. And once again, we get in this situation, and it's to the point where we talk about demographics in this radio station. A talk radio station is typically 90 to 95% men, but we do have quite a few women that listen to the show. And you know why I think it is?
Why is that?
I think because they want to get next to John Combest. They're like,
that's never going to happen.
That guy.
And when you talk about outliers, it's like you're a self-professed American, but you voluntarily listen to National Public Radio.
Because I try to broaden my horizons.
Yeah. Well, including a daily dose of communism sure does that.
But once again, John, remember I made fun of the typical story on NPR. I'm to the point where if somebody was in the car with me, nobody was, but if somebody's in the car with me, I'm going, okay, let me tell you what's going to happen as the story starts. They have the very serious woman. This story is about John Smith. John Smith has become an incredibly successful fill in the blank, okay? And I would turn to the person in the car and go, but wait, it's going to come out now that John has been physically abused. His parents threw him out of the house. Now he's a transgender, biracial, Hawaiian who lives in Siberia. And then the NPR lady comes, but John is a transracial Siberian, bipod who used to live in Siberia, but it got too cold because he's used to the warm climates of Hawaii.
Yeah, and by the way, he's handicapped.
Right. It's to the point where, and there's a show, if you ever want to listen to the show, it's called On the Media. And if there was ever a show that shows the absolute positive liberal bias of KWMU and St. Louis Public Radio and NPR, it's to the point where her name is Brooke Gladstone. I need to look up Brooke Gladstone and find out what's the deal with her. Brooke Gladstone is to the point where, like, every single story is about Trump and how Trump is bad and Trump's doing this and Trump's doing that. John, right now, as we speak, October 13th, and it's coming up on 8 o'clock at 7:51 local time. But in Israel, I believe it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Do you know where our president is right now, John?
I have no idea. Where is he?
He's in Israel celebrating the release of the hostages from Hamas that he brokered the agreement on. Okay, this terrible, absolutely positively horrible president with 34 convictions against him, and don't ever say that it was trumped up by Letitia, what's her name? Letitia.
Yeah, don't say that. Don't ever accuse Letitia James of that.
Letitia James trumping up charges against him. He is in Israel celebrating the fact that he brokered this peace agreement between Israel and Hamas, but yet he's a terrible person.
And this Saturday throughout the country, there's going to be another set of No Kings rallies. So maybe the folks there can protest peace in the Middle East.
I don't get it, John. I don't understand it. Matter of fact, I saw a funny meme over the weekend about Joe Biden, and people accuse me of essentially I think I might have sent it to you. Did I send it to you? I don't think I did. Okay, I'll have to bring it up and talk about it. Okay, so the crazy part of this is that, do you think that Joe Biden could have done what Trump has done? And I'm not trying to be a Trumper. I'm just essentially saying this is what Trump does best. He's a negotiator. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. And that's part of the promise of why you hire him to be a chief executive.
Right.
All the drama, though, it makes me just want to bury myself in 70s and 80s Japanese pop music.
I've said it many times. There are things Trump does. I just go, come on, Donald, stick to business. Move ahead. Don't say someone who is no talent. Like he goes off on when a movie star tweets something bad about him. Hey, it's no talent. They can't get a job anymore. Hollywood won't talk to them. I can't believe they ever got a TV show. I can't believe they sold 10 million records. They're no talent. You know what I'm going? It's like my ex-boss, who I say lots of good things about, Ted Smith, EAW Smith, a World War II fighter pilot for England, yes, Royal Air Force fighter pilot, who went into the Royal Air Force at 18, and at that point in time, the life expectancy of an RAF fighter pilot was about 6 months. Went through I don't know how many sorties, how many combat missions, and survived. And when he, after the World War II was over, and he was still a young man, I think he was 23, 24 at the time, he decided England was not the country for growth. He was going to move to the United States. Ted Smith, wonderful guy, but he had the same thing as Trump. I can still remember young Bobby Day, when young Bobby Day was on our station, and Ted Smith would say, we're so happy to have young Bobby Day. He's probably one of the most talented disc jockeys in the entire country. And when young Bobby Day quit and went across the street to another station, Ted was walking up and down the halls going, that young Bobby Day, what an untalented man he was. I can't believe we kept him on the air. He was horrible. I don't know why we kept him here. Get what I'm saying, John?
I get it. Did he have anything to say about who discovered the ocean? And was it the fish?
I don't know who discovered the ocean, but it wasn't the effing fish. Think about that, Brad. That was my meeting with him, which didn't go well. But to be honest with you, to this day, he said that to me. It has influenced my life almost on a daily basis. To the point where whenever you see somebody who comes along and all of a sudden they move out of their normal genre that they're in, and you go like, well, hold on a minute now. He's a plumber. How can he be a CEO of a company? I told you the story last week. We talked about the fact that the lady, Laurie, I can't remember her name now, the lady who started 16 as a waitress at IHOP, moved her way up to the president of IHOP, and then she started as a waitress at IHOP, and then she went over to Applebee's, and she worked her way up to the president of Applebee's. And when she was up for the CEO, she got shot down. Some people because she's a woman, she got ticked off. She went back to IHOP, worked her way back up through the corporate ranks at IHOP, became the CEO, and then they bought Applebee's. So she
really showed them. Julia Stewart was her name.
Yes, there you go, Julia Stewart. So I'm all for the kind of people that you think they are, you can't. And once again, this is not India. We don't have a caste system here. People can move up and down, the list of accomplishments, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, a story that Info Dude sent me. It's sort of interesting, okay? Elon Musk's falling satellites are new threat from the sky. Have you heard this story?
No, I haven't. Oh, no. Is it Starlink stuff?
Elon Musk's Starlink satellites are now falling to Earth with alarming frequency, according to famed Smithsonian astrophysicist Jonathan McDowell. McDowell recently told EarthSky that 1 to 2 Starlink satellites created by Elon Musk's company SpaceX are falling to Earth each day, and he expects that number to keep growing. Of the 12,000 satellites in orbit, about 8,000 are Starlink, with plans for thousands more to enter Earth's orbit in the coming years. A.V. Loeb, director of Harvard's Institute for Theory and Computation, told Morning in America that for now, there isn't much to worry about because the Earth is big and 71% is covered by oceans. So the likelihood of one of these satellites falling to Earth and killing someone is extremely low. He explained, however, that with plans for thousands of Starlink satellites to enter Earth's orbit over the next several years, the Federal Aviation Administration estimated that within a decade, the likelihood that a fragment will hit and kill someone could rise by 61% each year. Loeb explained that Starlink satellites falling to Earth are not unexpected, as they have an average lifespan of about 5 years, and the idea was to deorbit them and let them burn in the atmosphere. They're small enough for most of them to burn up and not reach the ground, he added, but some inevitably do reach the ground, not only putting people at risk, but also the environment, with the possibility of pollution of the atmosphere with the evaporation of all these metals. Okay, John, I will say we need to give this article to, what's the lady's name in St. Louis? Maxie, what's her name again? Maxie Glamour. Yeah, the black non-binary drag queen. John, can I tell you, I get these crazy weird videos that are suggested to me. I saw one the other day, and the reason why it caught my attention was, it was, once again, a police body cam, and I believe the police were someplace in the South. It might have been Florida. And the body cam is of a female officer pulling over a Mercedes, which has a temporary license plate. And keep in mind, this is like in Florida, has a temporary license plate that's folded up, paper license plate that you can't read it, okay? So she goes up to the window of the car, and the person in the car is I will say, a drag queen. It's a dude dressed as a woman, okay? And right off the bat, this woman, man, whatever it is, does not heed my son's advice of 10 and 2.
What is it, Brad?
10 and 2.
There we go. First time. Go ahead.
Keys on the dashboard, respectful for the officer.
We got it. Go ahead.
Okay. Becomes very confrontational. Long story made short, she says that she's driving this car. It's a Mercedes. She just bought it. And the fact that, and the interesting part of the story is when they show the license plate, this was in April of this year, the license plate, and keep in mind, this is a car that's in Florida. The license plate is a Missouri temporary permit, which expired in March of 24. So she's driving this car. It's folded up so you can't read it. So she gets into a confrontation with this woman. The woman police officer asked to have a supervisor come, and the supervisor comes. They run the VIN of the car. The car is out of Wisconsin, and it shows it's still registered in Wisconsin. So it could be a stolen car. It could be not stolen car. So she gets belligerent. Whatever it is, the he, her gets belligerent with the supervisor, and they're bending over backwards to be courteous to this woman, drag queen, whatever. And finally, they say to the point where they say, and she would not show any ID. So finally she says, you have to let me go because I'm a cardiologist, and I just got a text. There's someone in the emergency room that's dying. I have to get there right away.
That's believable.
I'm going like, yeah, right. So finally, the supervisor says, ma'am, all we want is just show us your driver's license. She refused to show any ID. Won't show any ID. Finally, she says, I'm not showing it to you. And he says to her, ma'am, you either show us your driver's license or you're going to jail. And she goes, you would never. So the police officer goes behind her and puts her handcuffs. Then she starts pleading, I'll show you my driver's license. Show it. Too late. Throw in the back of the car.
Much too late.
Off she goes. And the video's like 45 minutes long. I mean, once again, we've talked about this. The cops that were originally against body cameras, for the most part, now embrace them because you see the weird crap. Not KRAP crap or KRAP crap, but CRAP crap that they deal with every single day. I don't know how they do it, John. I don't know how they do it.
It's the Brad's Law of unintended consequences. And we say, I don't know who invented body cams, but it sure wasn't the bloody criminals. And then they put a bunch of mannequins to represent what the demographic was of the radio station. They set them outside, and then JoJo Kincaid and everybody started messing with them and put them in bad positions. You hear that Ted Smith story?
You remember my stories. Okay, John, I have something important to do, but I realized I have a bunch of stuff over the weekend. I'm going to my recycling center, and I may have a new recycling center from a contact I made last week, but I'm going to my recycling center in Valley Park. But I'm thinking, are they going to be open today? Do you think the recycling centers will be open today?
I think they'll be open on Columbus Day, a.k.a. Indigenous American Day.
This is not a government recycling center, which would be
closed. I think amazingly, I think they'll be open, Brad.
Okay, so I'll report back on my trip to recycling. And once again, people that accuse me of being a terrible person destroying the environment, I am Mr. Recycle, I'm telling you.
I know. Look at how often you recycle your stories.
Thank you, John. But you know what? We have to recycle them because we're always getting new audience, John, and you've proven that to me with the text you sent me, okay? Ready?
All right, I'll see you tomorrow, Brad.